Clear to play.
MiniWarGaming Dan here from MiniWarGaming.com. Here bringing more Tactica about the awesome HQ choices of the Orc Codex. We're going to start off with the Warboss. Bam! This guy is cool. And focus there. Now, Warboss, he has a lot of options. He's actually not very expensive, like base cost-wise, compared to a lot of armies, but you're going to boost him up. He's going to be 120 and 150 points that you want him to be. Just because you want him to be like an HQ that can do something. Otherwise, he's kind of like a tougher knob, and you want to have some hitting power, some stopping power. And so with the Warboss, big thing you can replace his Choppa with a big Choppa or a Power Claw. And for goodness sakes, just take the Power Claw. Just take the Power Claw, because it's a Power Claw. And when you have Strength 5 and you double your Strength because it's a Power Fist, equivalent, that's Strength 10. And then you can pop everything. Like Strength 9 compared to Strength, and it's not even on a charge, it's always having Strength and attacks, hitting all the time. It's a wonderful thing, very wonderful. So take the Power Claw, take the Power Claw. Now Warboss, now he has a Shooter as well, and because the Power Claw doesn't, well, he has a Slugger, but the Power Claw doesn't, because although it's another close combat weapon, it doesn't add another attack if you don't have another power weapon, you know what I mean? And so you can upgrade his Slugger just like a normal pistol. It's only 5 points. You can either give him a Shooter Rocket, which is, it's a rocket, whatever, you just one random shot, or you can give him a Shooter Scorcher, which is fun, because that's a heavy flamer template. That's once per game that you can just blast somebody with, just randomly, which is pretty cool. Or if you're like going after a vehicle, you can just make it graze the vehicle and hit a squad behind it, hurt that, and you can charge him with your Strength 10 and blow up the vehicle. It's just, there's lots of options with the Scorcher that they're just a lot of fun. And sometimes you don't use it, but it's only 5 points, so it's not terrible. And then you can also just give him a Twin Link Shooter. So it just gives him a bit more shooting power. But I would go with the Shooter Scorcher if you are going to upgrade anything at all. That's it. So, other upgrades. Oh, he'd become a Mega Armor Warboss. I don't have one modeled, sorry guys. I don't even have a Ghazghkull model, but we'll get into that in a sec. And so if you give the Warboss Mega Armor, it's like Terminator Armor, but you're also slow and purposeful. So you don't have an invuln save unless you upgrade it. We'll get into that, other upgrades you can take. But you do get that 2+ armor. And so you are slow and purposeful, because you are an independent character, you can roll 3d6 to move through, because it's like moving through difficult terrain. And so you can roll 3d6, so odds are you still be able to move. I mean, you might roll that 111 and just do nothing that turn. It'd be terrible. But for the most part, if you put him in some kind of vehicle with other Mega Knobs, a Warboss you want with a squad. You never want him just kind of in the open. I mean, that goes to say with really any independent character. You don't want him getting picked off. But the cool thing about the Warboss is because he attacks, he has 3 wounds, so he's semi-survivable. And you can upgrade his save. You can give him heavy armor, and a cyborg body, which is a 5+ invuln. So you can make him more survivable, which you do want to do, provided you have the points. Because he'll always be attacked by whatever. But the great thing is that he can break off from squads quite easily and rejoin them. And so whether he's Mega Armored or not, Mega Armor just makes him a lot more survivable. But it's about the same. He has about the same amount of hitting power, just because you can give him a Power Claw anyways. So Mega Armor, make him stronger. Otherwise, they're about the same. The other guy's a bit faster. Faster or tougher. That's what you have to choose from. And the faster one just costs a lot less. So that's what I usually take. That's what I've always taken. I've never taken a Mega Armor Warboss, but I've seen it very, very effective. So don't take it to think that I'm not saying that's not good. You can take both. They're both very effective. Just again, it's all in your playstyle, how you want to field your Warboss. But anyways, so you can charge it with the boys, whether it's even boys in a truck, you unload, and then your Warboss can unload the opposite way and just charge someone like a vehicle. Warboss, you don't want going after big groups, obviously, because he isn't that strong. Maybe a Mega Armor Warboss, if you want to risk it. But you want to be going after vehicles with your Warboss, or in combination with other squads, you can make them attack anything else like monstrous creatures and all that stuff just to help out. But you want to hit something. Unfortunately, the best way to use a Warboss is to hit something that can't hit you back very hard. It seems like so, not orky, but you want your Warboss, because he can hit so hard, but he has a power class, so he always hits last. Like, he just walks up, he's just got like this massive amounts of attacks and power, and he's just like, wah! And he waits. And then you hit him a bunch, and then he kills you. So if you attack something too powerful, then they might kill you before you even get the chance to do anything. So you have to be careful with that with the Warboss. But other than that, just take them in with a squad, and then when you get to where you are, if the opportunity presents itself, please break him off, do something cool with him, and then even that next turn you can just jump back into another squad, and for him to be safe again. But he's really flexible, it can do a lot of things. And another awesome, actually, let me bring over the rule books, all the other cool. Okay, so we talked about heavy armor, we talked about cyborg body. You can give him ammo rent. You can only take one, but you get to reroll a shooting attack. Not really useful with a Warboss. I wouldn't take him unless you give him a Warbike, because a Warbike, the only restriction on a Warbike is that you can't take Mega Armor as well. Okay, so you can't be a Mega Armor and Warbike. The reasoning is because he would probably fall off a lot, right there. So that's infallible logic to me. I can accept that. And so a Warbike Warboss is pretty cool, because then he's so much faster. And if you really wanted to, you could still put him with a squad, but this time you can put him with a squad of bikes. And so you can turbo boost. And so not only does everyone have a 3-up save, cover save from the turbo boost, but then again, that next turn, your bikes can move around, do their thing, and then your Warboss can go assassinate a vehicle or whatever. He can stay with them. He has a lot more shooting power. And Dakkas on bikes, we'll get into that in fast attack choices, but bikes are cool. And so a Warboss on a bike is often actually a more popular choice than was Dakka, which we'll talk about soon. So Warboss, they're great, they're super strong, they're not always the most survivable independent character compared to all the other armies that are out there, unless you give them Mega Armor. The Warbike helps a lot too, but you just keep them with your squads, break them off when you can, and then rejoin up with your squads and just keep on killing stuff. And so I'll add this in because he's so similar, Ghazghkull Thraka. Ghazghkull Thraka is one of the 4 special characters that the orcs have. He is probably the most he's the most powerful. He costs the most points at least. And all he is a mega armored Warboss with some cool special rules. And I think some more attacks as well. Oh, I closed my book. Okay, so Ghazghkull, one awesome thing he has is the adamantium skull, which means when he charges, he gets +2 attacks instead of just +1. And so when you're getting those strength 10 hits, and you're getting a lot of them already, plus he hits hard. Oh my goodness, he hits hard. One more thing, almost forgot. A Warboss can take an attack squig. And this is almost a necessary upgrade. Not necessary, but it's awesome. I mean, it's a little more expensive to take, but an attack squig, it gives you +1 attack, but it gives you +1 to your base. And so with Power Claw, you can't take another close combat weapon to increase your attacks unless it's another Power Claw, and you can't take 2 Power Claws. And besides that, would be way too expensive anyways. And so if you just take an attack squig, there's a little squig run around with you, yeah. So he can, I don't know how to, basically he distracts the unit or model that you're attacking And so you get that one extra attack in there. That's how I like to think about it. And so attack squigs are great because you get that extra strength 10 attack. And when you're trying to hit a vehicle that's moved, you know, cruising speed and you need 6s, you know, that one extra dice can help out. It just increases your odds of hitting so much more. So I almost always, if I have the points for it, I almost always take an attack squig, heavy armor, cyber body, power claw, and surprisingly enough, I don't take a boss pole. The reason you don't take a boss pole, I'll get back to Ghazghkull Thraka in a bit. I want to go back to my Warboss. You don't take a boss pole usually because if you're in a squad, that squad will almost always already have a boss pole. And under the rules for a boss pole, it's if the unit has a boss pole and it fails a morale check, then once per turn it can re-roll that. So if you have multiple boss poles in the unit, you don't actually get to re-roll more than once. The only advantage is if your model with the boss pole dies, and you have another model with a boss pole, then you can still re-roll those morale checks, which sometimes is useful in knobs wound allocation, because sometimes one dies, the other one doesn't, and they're just a cheap upgrade. But with a Warboss, every squad in the Orc army should already have a boss pole in it, if it can. The only ones would be like your back elite shooting choices, which you don't want your Warboss with anyways. And so there's almost never a reason for a Warboss to have a boss pole if your other units do have boss pole upgrades, just for that reasoning. Okay, back to Ghazghkull. Ghazghkull, okay, so he has an adamantium skull, and he's a prophet of the wall. So what that means is that when once per turn or once per game, the orcs have a special wog, and they charge. You know, every infantry gains a fleet that has the wog special rule, and so you can run and charge. When Ghazghkull, his special rule is his wog replaces the normal wog, so you can't call him first turn as normal. But then when you do call it, there's a few special things that happen. One, you automatically move 6 on your run move. That's huge. So like all your guys, they can move 6. If they're not going through difficult terrain, they automatically have 18-inch charge. If they're able to swerve through no difficult terrain, automatic 18-inch charge that round, if you know you're going to call that wall. So that's awesome. That's super powerful, especially when it gives all your orc boy armies. And that's just infantry. If you're in a truck, obviously you can move more. So there's that. And then also when he calls wog for his turn, and the following turn until it becomes your turn again, so 2 rounds of combat, his save becomes invulnerable. So now, not only does he have a 2+ armor save, he gets a 2+ invulnerable save. And so if you ever, your players, you know, how do you kill Mephiston? Well, you call a wog with Ghazghkull and you charge into Mephiston. And then you kill Mephiston. The Ghazghkull will kill just about anything during that round or 2 of combat when he calls his wog. He gets I think a 7 attacks on the charge. It's all at strength 10, and with a 2+ invulnerable, with all his wounds, you're gonna rip through things. The only thing is he has lots of points, so you only want to take him in the high point games. Other than that, that's Warboss and Ghazghkull. Click right here to learn all about big mechs.